I want to talk a little bit about feet. Feet. We've got 40-something years of experience of the foot issues, different kinds of shoes, different kinds of, some in the room are thinking about, should I change shoes, should I not, should I have a certain amount of shoe for the, certain type of shoe for the snow, and switch in the dry, and this, and when I cross the river, and all this. What sort of advice would you guys have about feet and blisters? And we've talked. There's earlier in the day stuff about podiatry and that, but just sort of how do you handle the foot issues that inevitably arise in a 100-mile race? Luann?
Well, hopefully you guys have all trained enough that you know which shoes are going to work for you. This course, we're lucky enough that we live close to Athletes Gym and I that we can run on this course and train on it, so I know which shoes I'm going to wear and which shoes I can wear. My main concern is on the downhills because my feet haven't been happy a lot on the downhills, my toes, and it'll really slow you down if you don't have a pair of shoes that you can run downhill in because there's so much downhill and it's really fast, but if your feet are killing you, it's not going to help you out. Now you can do what I've done in the past and cut out your shoes, and so you can have like a sandal-like pair that if your feet start hurting you, have a pair of shoes that you've cut the toes out, and I did that for 55 miles last year. From Michigan Bluff on, I wore a pair of shoes that didn't have toes in them. You don't want to,
toenail problems.
Because of the toenail problems, yeah. So,
Exactly.
yeah, and as far as worrying about getting your feet wet or dry shoes, they're going to be wet the whole time anyways. I just go right through the creeks and whatever.
For me, for changing shoes, some years I've ran in the same socks, the same shoes from start to finish. I didn't change. Then there's some years that I just felt I needed a shoe change for whatever reason. Crossing the river, it felt good to have a dry pair of shoes on. It just depended on how my feet were feeling. I find too that if you change your socks and you can kind of feel maybe some blisters there, you don't want to disrupt that because I've done that, and for the next 2 or 3 miles, my feet are talking to me pretty good. So it just kind of varies and depends year to year on whether I'm changing shoes or not changing shoes. If you're really racing the race too, it's a time consideration, I guess, as well. Do you want to spend the time changing shoes, or do you want to just blast through and move on? It just, again, varies for me. Some years I'll get blisters, but I don't really feel them until the end of the race. When I did run Badwater one year, I got 2 blisters, and it's like, that was the first time I thought, now I know what blisters feel like. These were 2 of them on my little toes, and I thought my toes were going to fall off. Fortunately, I had an RN nurse who was part of my crew, kind of helped me out, and we kind of solved the problem, but they are very painful and very debilitating, to say the least. So again, like Luann said, you want to use, if you run on the course, you find shoes that work for you, you're going to kind of know what's best for you and whether you need to change or not. If things are working good with your feet, don't change. I'd say leave it on. Don't change just because you think you need to. If your feet feel good, let them stay happy.
And along those same lines, I have an axiom which I really believe in, is that if you start feeling something bothering you and you feel it and it may feel minor and it's getting worse, stop and take the time and take care of it before it becomes really bad. Because if you let blisters or feet problems get to you, just trying to tough it out and hoping that they'll get better, you can give up a lot of time at the end. So my feeling is at an aid station, even though you may give up 5 minutes to change socks, change shoes, have a podiatrist put some Vaseline on your feet. Take care of that if you're having some issues, because if you say, I'm going to let it go, maybe it'll get better in the next 10 miles, you can go 10 miles and then it can be almost unfixable. So, and that goes with any type of injury. If you have chafing, if you have sunburn, if you have something tweaking with your knee and you need to put a brace on or something, try and take care of things at the first sign that there's a problem. Don't let a little problem become a major problem.
I'm a little bit different than Scotty. My first year, maybe I'm stupid.
He's faster, that's what he's saying.
My first year I had really bad blisters, and I had to stop for 9 minutes at Forest Hill. This was after I almost dropped out of Devil Snow. And they wrapped some stuff around me, but it didn't really do anything to make them feel any better. They still hurt all the way to the finish. But after that year, I learned about fixing your feet. What's the guy's name?
John Von Hoff.
John Von Hoff. And we
He'll be
take-
around on Sunday.
My brother helps me tape my toes the night before. We take the balls of the foot, put the socks on, the shoes on, and I don't want to look at my feet until I finish them.
So you never change a thing?